In theory, owning a successful pizza chain should be easy. Step 1, you make the pizza. Step 2, you sell the pizza. Step 3, profit. But based on the meteoric rise and very public fall of Papa John's Pizza and the man behind it, it's apparently a lot easier to screw up than you'd think.
I've had over 40 pizzas in the last 30 days, and it's not the same pizza. It's not the same product. It just doesn't taste as good.
So, today we're delivering everything that went wrong with Papa John's. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. After that, please leave a comment and let us know what other troubled eateries you would like to hear about next. Okay, time for a slice of weird history. In the American chain foods industry, the people are represented by 5 separate yet equally important pizza places: Pizza Hut, Little Caesars, Domino's, Papa John's, and Hunt Brothers. Cue the Law and Order sound. Pizza Hut is the oldest of the Big Five. Dating back to 1958, it lays claim to being the first big chain pizza place. Little Caesars was up and running just a year later, in '59, and Domino's appeared on the scene right after that in 1960. Papa John's and Hunt Brothers, by comparison, got something of a late start, opening their doors in 1984 and 1991 respectively. But while they've all achieved commercial success at the highest levels, the Big Five were not created equally. Each has a unique and special power, like characters in an anime. Pizza Hut, for example, offers a sit-down dining experience. Domino's is world famous for their speedy delivery service. Papa John's is made with allegedly better and more expensive ingredients. And Little Caesars is crazy cheap. That's why their mascot is a deranged Roman emperor. As for Hunt Brothers, they placed their locations mostly in convenience stores across the country, technically making them the single biggest pizza chain in the United States, if you like gas station pizza. And with all that in mind, it's time to take a closer look at old Papa John. The story of Papa John's Pizza begins back in the old country, of Jeffersonville, Indiana. It all started in 1984 when a 23-year-old John Schnatter sold his 1971 Chevy Camaro Z28 to buy some used pizza-making equipment. He installed that equipment in a broom closet at the back of a local business called Mick's Lounge, which, as it happens, was owned by his father. Schnatter had worked in pizza places since he was 15 and had noticed that local places tended to make better pizza with fresher, higher quality ingredients. Franchised chains, however, were changing the whole business and making delivery more efficient than ever at the expense of quality. Sure, Domino's may get here in 30 minutes or less, but it's still Domino's. Looking to combine the best features of each model, Schnatter made his pizzas with the kind of ingredients you'd expect to find at a small local place, with service more like a chain, and people took note. His pizzas became so popular so quickly, by the following year he was able to rent an adjoining space just for his new pizza business, Papa John's. People dug it, and by the end of that same year, Schnatter would already have 4 additional locations in towns nearby. He was on his way to becoming a pizza baron, and in 2009, he would track that Camaro down and buy it back, presumably with its weight in pepperoni. Within 7 years of opening his first location, Schnatter would franchise over 100 more, and in 1993, Papa John's would go public, raising tens of millions for further expansion. By the beginning of the aughts, there would be over 1,000 locations in the U.S. alone. A lot of that success came because Papa John was a true innovator. In fact, Schnatter himself whipped up the first batch of Papa John's now famous garlic dipping sauce. Included with every pizza, Papa John's dipping sauce is often credited with kicking off the now fairly ubiquitous practice of including dipping sauces with pizza. And while the first online order for pizza was technically placed at a Pizza Hut in 1994, it would be Papa John's that became the first chain pizza place to have a nationwide online ordering system in 2002. It probably seems weird to some of you younger viewers, but back in the day, if you wanted a pizza, you had to call a place on the telephone and talk to a human being. Ugh. And Papa John's, for better or worse, is the place most responsible for changing all of that. No one likes talking on the phone anyway. If you're running a national chain of fast food franchises, you're going to need a mascot, like a clown who sells burgers or a chihuahua who sells tacos. Failing that, you need a spokesperson. And as Dave Thomas of Wendy's proved, sometimes the founder of a franchise is just the best man for the job. Like Thomas, Schnatter decided to be the face of his own brand and began to star in his own advertisements. Those ads painted Schnatter as an affable everyman who cares deeply about the quality of his pizza. And he used them to popularize the chain's simple yet effective slogan, "Better ingredients, better pizza. The campaign further distinguished Papa John's from its competitors since neither Joey Pizza Hut nor Vinny Domino's were brave enough to appear in their own ads. It made sense for Papa John's, though, because unlike those other places, Papa John's was selling the idea that their pizzas were higher quality, and giving customers an actual face to put with the name brought a lot of validity to those claims. Over the years, Papa John's would build their advertising strategy and, indeed, the whole brand itself, almost entirely around Schnatter. It was a move that would pay off big time, right up until it didn't. Like a lot of successful people, Schnatter developed a reputation for being a tough boss with high standards. After all, quality was part of the brand. But Schnatter was also accused of taking things to extremes. He had an abrasive management style that many found alienating, and according to reports, he enjoyed terrifying his employees by conducting brutal surprise inspections. That kind of thing isn't uncommon for CEOs who pride themselves as taskmasters, but stressful surprise inspections weren't the only issue with Schnatter's management style. In 2018, Forbes reported that dozens of former and current Papa John's employees, including everyone from cashiers to board members, had told them Schnatter ran a toxic workplace that normalized profanity and encouraged sexism. Schnatter himself was accused of sexually inappropriate conduct and routinely violating the privacy of his employees by reading their emails in an attempt to keep his behavior a secret. The fiasco resulted in a lawsuit from some of Papa John's major shareholders, but we haven't spilled all the sauce just yet. In addition to allegedly being a bad boss, Schnatter had a habit of shooting himself in the foot, figuratively speaking. For example, there was the time in 2008 when a Papa John's in Washington, D.C. made t-shirts that had LeBron James's jersey number on them, along with the word crybaby. James was playing against the Washington Wizards at the time, and the franchise owner wanted to taunt him. But a lot of people felt it was kind of weird for a national pizza franchise to single out and insult a specific player. The company wound up apologizing and offering LeBron fans a special deal. And there was the time in 2012 when an employee in New York put a racial slur on a customer's receipt. The store's manager explained that sometimes employees used racial slurs as shorthand to identify customers when it was busy. That's not the defense you think it is, my guy. In 2017, Papa John's was the official pizza of the NFL. At the time, several high-profile athletes, including quarterback Colin Kaepernick, were protesting systemic racism in the U.S. by kneeling during the singing of the national anthem. And Schnatter was upset by these demonstrations. During a conference call with investors in October of 2017, an angry Schnatter blamed Papa John's low sales on the protests and the league. He claimed that the players were hurting pizza sales and the NFL should have resolved the situation. Schnatter then terminated the sponsorship deal and had the NFL's logo removed from all Papa John's advertising going forward. Schnatter's investors weren't as glib about losing a lucrative relationship with the NFL, so less than 2 months later, Schnatter would be forced to step down as CEO. He would, however, continue to be chairman of the board, the company's largest shareholder and the star of their commercials. That being the case, the company ordered him to undergo media training, to make sure he didn't say anything stupid again. That training included a role-playing exercise with marketing consultants, who tested Schnatter on how he would respond if asked whether terminating the sponsorship meant he was siding with racists, because it was a question he might be asked in public. Schnatter responded by saying he was being unfairly singled out, claiming that Colonel Harlan Sanders of KFC fame freely used racial slurs and got away with it. Once again, that is not the defense you think it is, Papa J. Schnatter then doubled down by reminiscing over his boyhood in Indiana and graphically described racially motivated murders that took place there. According to people on the call, Schnatter was clumsily trying to explain his opposition to racism, but he did so in the most offensive way possible. Schnatter apologized, but it was too late. Once the incident hit the press, he was out as chairman of the board and spokesman the very same day. His ousting would eventually result in the now infamous interview of November 2019, in which Schnatter seemed to claim that he had over 40 pizzas in the last 30 days. He then warned the world that a day of reckoning was soon to come, which is a thing evil sorcerers say. But in fairness, he was going to have to reckon with all those pizzas he ate. During the 1990s, Papa John's and Pizza Hut became bitter enemies, constantly attacking each other in their advertisements. But the Hut was fighting above its weight class. By some estimates, Pizza Hut saw an 8% decrease in sales, while Papa John's saw an 11% increase. When they couldn't beat them in sales, Pizza Hut took Papa John's to court, claiming that its whole better ingredients, better pizza shtick was false advertising. Pizza Hut actually won and was awarded damages of close to $13 million, but the verdict was reversed on appeal, and the damages along with them. But while Papa John's may may have won the decade-long legal battle, Pizza Hut is the franchise that ultimately came out on top. As of 2019, Pizza Hut was the #2 pizza chain in the world with sales of around $12 billion, and Papa John's was a distant fourth with sales of a mere $3.5 billion. Wonder how much of that was Schnatter binge-eating pies. After Schnatter's extremely public meltdown and subsequent firing, Papa John's stock and market share cratered. Stuck with the name Papa John's, the company has worked to erase Schnatter from its advertising and history. To that end, Papa John's has rebuilt its image around a new spokesman, a man whose name and reputation are virtually synonymous with good pizza throughout the world: Shaquille O'Neal. Okay, Shaq's not really known for pizza, but he is known for securing the bag as a spokesman, and he's a generally well-liked figure. I mean, come on, he was in that Genie movie. No, the real one. O'Neal joined the company's board of directors in 2019 and became the face of the brand from that point on. Papa John's even introduced a new pizza in his name, the Shaq-a-Roni. Bringing in a new public face like Shaq, along with the introduction of a host of new menu items, have helped the chain start its comeback. Those items include things like Papa Bowls, which are pizza ingredients without the crust in a bowl, Papadillas, essentially Papa John's version of a panini, and Papa Bites, which are like mini calzones. It all adds up to a Shaq-sized step in the right direction. Now, if they'd only stop putting so much damn sauce on their pizzas. So what do you think? Are you a fan of Papa John's, or is it overrated? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other weird history food videos.